Did you know that 36% of Americans think that sex education should not be taught in schools? According to the Healthy Teen Network, a national organization supporting young people's health, multiple states have passed bans on teaching sex education in grades K through 12. When states pass bans on teaching sex education, it sends a message that it's something that should not be discussed. Most of you will probably cringe when I say the word sex education. Flashbacks of your sixth grade maturation might even roll across your mind. Feeling uncomfortable should not be your first reaction. At BYU, conversations about sexuality can sometimes feel taboo and even uncomfortable. We must break the discomfort and approach these conversations in a healthy way. I am here to tell you that sex education is about much more than risk reduction and disease prevention. It's about understanding our bodies and creating healthy relationships. Today, I would like to talk about two things. First, why sex education impacts a child's emotional and physiological development. And second, why parents need to discuss and be involved in teaching sex education at home. These topics are just as important for young adults like you as they are for children. Understanding this will help us build healthy relationships now and in the future. First, why does sex education impact a child's emotional and physiological development? The National Institute of Health, a medical research agency, states that children at adolescent age start to develop a term of sexuality. Sex education helps children understand their bodies and helps them understand that they can set boundaries. This leads to improved self-esteem and lasting positive body image. The Healthy Teen Network goes on to say that sex education gives young people age-appropriate and medically accurate information while answering questions about sex and relationships without feeling shamed or judged. A few semesters ago, I had the opportunity to take a healthy sexuality class where my professor, Dr. Shalom Lovett of the School of Family Life, shared a personal story about her son. She started discussing sex education with him at an early age, fostering an open and trusting relationship. One day when he was at school, he had overheard something about sexuality that he didn't fully understand. Because of this foundation of communication, he was able to ask his mom questions and receive clarification on his confusion. According to educationweek.org, a nonpartisan, high-quality news source, without the proper education, children face confusion and even anxiety about sexual development. Puberty, body changes, and emotional and emerging sexual feelings can cause an overwhelming feeling for these kids. Sex education helps children recognize that these are natural and a normal part of growing up. 2, why do parents need to discuss and be involved in teaching sex education? Just as the Healthy Teen Network says, multiple states have passed bans on teaching sex education, and only 12 states mandate it. Schools are falling short of providing a good sex education program. If parents aren't teaching their kids about sex education, they are likely not going to learn, which leads them to be informed by potentially explicit or misinformation on websites online. Educationweek.org goes on to discuss that it is less likely for humans to end up in healthy relationships without proper education. In order for parents to teach sex education at home, they must feel comfortable talking about these topics. The Education Week article goes on to discuss that when parents try to be protective of their kids, they're doing a disservice to them by leaving them ignorant to their bodily changes. Sex education, again, helps children understand that this is a normal and natural part of growing up. In conclusion, parents must improve teaching sex education in the home and strengthening that openness starting at a younger age. By creating a safe space for discussions about relationships, boundaries, and consent, they help children make informed decisions, build self-esteem, and understand their bodies. This emerging engagement decreases shame, judgment, and misinformation and strengthens the parent-child bond. Here at BYU, we are told to enter to learn. Make that include the advocacy of teaching sex education.